just get going here. There we go. So, okay, yeah, I just want to talk you through, like I said, what all has to be done. What we normally do when we do this course, we actually get people to develop an estimate on a 3-bedroom house. It's a guest house, executive guest house with a jacuzzi and a bar area and a dining room area, huge lounge, entrance hall, toilets, offices, or rentable offices, all that type of stuff. So it's a 3-story guest house, but that's a lot of work. Okay, so I've decided just to do the 3 properties because it just makes it much easier. Yeah, so I mean, I can issue you guys maybe some of the information that prior students have done. And what they did is they actually went out on inquiry to individuals to see what comes back. So that's actually quite interesting. Anyway, so without further ado, okay, so the big issue is to get an estimate done. So let me just share my screen. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so just tell me when you can see it.
Okay, I can see it.
Yeah, excuse me. Grab some
Okay.
water here. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so I've actually tasked one of my people who's actually part of the course to set this up, and I just guided them a little bit. So what you can see here this is the labor cost, right? Skilled, unskilled.
Yes.
So and then what I've done, so you work out the square meters. Okay, so there's the length of the property. So maybe I must focus in here a bit. Let's just focus on that first.
Okay.
So here we've looked at the length of the property, all right? So the length is then multiplies those two, all right? It gives us, so I'm going to have two skilled labors and 3 unskilled labors or man hours, okay? That works out the amount of squares that the guy is going to build for that specific length of wall. So as we said, it's very simple. It's a 2-meter wall. So it's 27 by 36 is 126 times 2. Really, that's as simple as it is. Okay. Then you can say, okay, well, this is the gate entrance, take 3 meters off, that sort of stuff. But I mean, just to make it simple, there it is. So then we're working out the bricks, the cement, the sand, the foundation, the rebar, cement mix, and the scaffolding. Okay, because obviously there needs to be a bit of scaffolding. And as you can see here, so there's per 1,000. Okay, so this should actually be per cube. Cube. Oops. Right. So that's per cube. A thing of trouble. That's what happens if you're doing presentation and you're doing modifications. All right. So that's obviously per cube. And this is a standard measure how it works. So this is going to be per cube, right? So there's so many cubes of sand, cement, so many cubes of sand. I think it's actually the other way around. Yeah. I think it's the other way around. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, it's definitely the other way around. So and that's cement, yeah. Okay, so yeah. Right. Okay, so sorry, like I didn't check this beforehand. Anyway, so just to give you the gist, so that's the standard method. So you can go to websites, they say, okay, punch in the number of squares that you want, so many meters by so many meters. It tells you how many bricks you need, tells you how much sand you need, how much cement you need. Then obviously for your foundation, it's 126 meters, and you can do the calculation there. So as you can see here, it's by so it's 600 wide by 250 deep. It's just the measure, and that gives you the amount of that gives you a rate, and that gives you the cement. So that's going to cost 1,836 per cube of concrete, and that's going to cost you 34,000 bucks. And then the rebar, there's going to be 18 meters of it. Sorry, the 504 meters of it. So you can obviously put that in the foundation. And then you can, there's all kinds of other. You can put, I don't know, I can't come on the name now, but there's some kind of wire that you put inside the wall which strengthens it and so on and so on. You can add all that stuff. Yeah, you can add all that stuff. But I mean, just to give you an idea. So there's the building permits, then the environmental permit. You need safety gear for your workers. Okay, then you got
Yeah.
your temporary structures, so you might have a little site office there, site utilities. You need to have water, obviously, otherwise you can't build. You need to do a land surveying because the guy has to go and measure exactly where your pin is, where you need to build and where you can't build. And then you might have some security. And then obviously work it out into durations. As you can see here, so we got the durations that we worked out. Okay. And that gives you the duration. There we also added in accommodation. So there's no accommodation on this one specifically because it's very close to home. The guy's going to go home every day and there's your travel costs. Okay. So this is your cost. So this is what it's going to cost you. Then there's your profit margin that I've put in. So this is what you're going to cost. It's 328. And if you're going to cost it out to your client, you're going to cost it out at 394,000. Okay. So what are you going to get involved with now? So now we're going to take that lot and we take those 43 days, as you can see there, 43 days. So that's week 1. So that's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. So 6 weeks. There's 6 weeks there. And so 43 days divided by 7 is 6 weeks or 6 and a bit, right? So as you can see there in your first week, you're going to obviously put the foundations in. So very, very simple, right? Put the foundations in and all that sort of stuff. And then you take all your costs and you spread them across that. So what I've done, I've just divided it by 6. But I mean, here, for instance, what is this here? This is now the material cost for the bricks. So I'm going to have X amount of bricks delivered. So one truck is 13,000 bricks. So I'm going to have 13,000 bricks delivered, bang. And I'm going to have 13,000 bricks delivered, bang, right? So that is where you cost it, all right? So it's going to take the guys obviously 3 weeks to build those and 3 weeks to build those, okay? And if they build 1,000 bricks per day, then yeah, 2 guys, that should be pretty quick, okay? But I mean, they weren't going to build 1,000 bricks a day. They're probably going to build 600, between 500 and 600, okay? It also depends where you are and what the situation is on the ground. So in other words, if there's the incline, can you only build from one side? Can you build from both sides? You know, obviously, if it's a new area, then you can build from both sides. If it's a built up area already, you can only build inside your wall. Okay, you can't go encroach in. You can't stand in the other guy's property. And that gives you then obviously a cash flow, as you can see at the bottom here. Gives you a cash flow. And then what I've taken this and I said, all right, let's put that into duration. So there's property 1, property 2, property 3, property 4. Let me just make this a bit bigger. Okay. And that obviously gives you, oops. And that obviously gives you the properties over the period. So as you can see, we're going to be busy here for about 8 months. So this, every one of these blocks is a week. Okay. I'll just let them indicate that. So, and that gives you the duration. So this is what gives you your cash flow. So when you go in front here, you can see there's the properties cash flow, right? So there's the properties. So this is what it's going to cost me, 1.6 million. And I'm going to charge it at a 2.4 million. So if I'm lucky, over the 8 months, I'm going to make 400,000. So that's over 8 months. What is that? That's 5 grand a month. 50,000 a month. Okay, if it all goes well, right? Okay, so anyway, so what we're going to get into now is the budgeting. Okay, so this is where you got to go and you got to do the budget. So this is what you call the budget. So this is going to be your baseline budget. And like I said, we're not really going to do schedule. So that's why I'm going to guide the people a little bit. As you can see here, we're going to work pretty much eight months. Okay. And that's the total cost there. We can see the bottom here. So if I add that up, that adds up to 1.9 million. Yeah, I think there's something wrong there. Yeah, sorry, these two. It doesn't allow contingency in it. Okay. So because your contingency, you should not include your contingency, you should not include in your budget. Your contingency is there for unforeseen issues. So like, say, oh shit, I forgot to give a permit for XYZ or whatever the case might be. Then you have to all that money. You need that 84,000 bucks is then for contingency. If you obviously don't use it, then you've done your estimate well, and then you can use that to mitigate any unforeseen risks that come up. That money is not there to build a fancy gate or add an extra little pylon onto your walls or whatever the case might be. Just remember now, if you're doing an estimate for a project, that money normally belongs to the client, okay? And they normally use that money to build all the other additional goodies that they can. I mean, they're pretty much, a lot of organizations work very much like the government. If you get the budget, they just spend it all, right? And it doesn't matter which government, they all work the same way. You give them a budget, they spend their budget, okay, all of it. I know we work with governments in Namibia and in Botswana, and they do the same. You give them money, they spend it all, right? So that's just the gist of it. And this is then what we're going to call our budget. And on this, we're now going to produce S curves and all that sort of stuff. And then from that, we will then produce some kind of, how can I say, you're going to put some progress in here. So I'm going to say, okay, you're now behind on this one and you're ahead of that one. And what we will do is we'll take some of these projects and we'll incorporate them into more than one. So in other words, what I'm saying is we're going to take this lot and we're going to move it into so that they all overlap. You with me? And that makes it a bit more exciting. So in other words, some projects are ahead, some projects behind, and that'll give you different scenarios. So we're going to play around with that. But this is the main exercise that I'm going to show you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to issue this to everybody so that they can have a look at it. What I would do hope that everybody does is to go in here and then just do your own calculations here, okay? You can use US dollars, whatever the case might be, it doesn't really matter. Just try and make it close to your area. And you can use the kilometers and everything there, pretty much the same as what the scope said. But I would like you just to reiterate this and look at your own cost. What I will do is I will highlight the formulas here, and I will issue that so you can punch in your own goodies. So you just punch it in, whatever they are. All right. So I'll give some instructions on that. I'll issue that by Friday morning, definitely. Yeah. I just need to sit with Kate and just see what she can and what she can't do. All right. I don't know if are there any questions per se. Stop the share here. Any questions from your side, Shane?
Hi.
Yes, I can hear you.
First I need some time to like digest everything.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of information. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll definitely ask along the way.
Okay. All right. So,
Yes.
like I said, I mean, this is really straightforward. I'll give some explanations around the
Okay.
assumptions. Okay. So, that is why I'm saying one of the big things when you do estimates is you must list your assumptions. When you list your assumptions, then you know exactly what your risks are going to be.
Yes.
So you have informed risks. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, if you're working in for instance, a very sandy area, and you find, I didn't allow enough concrete or enough rebar, or whatever the case might be, that's obviously part of the contingency that you can put in there. And as you see, if I maybe just go here, you'll see that the contingency on some properties are low, and some properties are, okay, that's 5, that's 5. That's 5. Oh, okay. And it should be the other. I see she put the profit the rock. She put the profit as a different percentage. Should be the other way around. She should have allowed the risk. Okay, I did give her some instructions. Anyway, so the profit, the risk allowance should have been higher because those properties obviously have a bit more risk attached to them. I'll just let them fix that. So so yeah, the profit is 15%. Okay, so let's say your company works on 15% profit or whatever that is. That's pretty much a profit margin. But I must do say that if you have different clients, your profit margin might be different on different clients. Let's assume this is all for one client, then obviously there's a profit margin of all the one. If there's 6 different clients, then there'll be a different profit margin on every client. But because the properties are, I know one is in sand, when I think back, one is in sand, one is in clay area, so the foundations have to be bigger, and sort of the risk allowance there has to be a bit bigger, because you might pick up that you are in a problem area. And I know one of them is on a hilly area as well. So the one side of the property is hilly, so there might be an additional rebar or whatever, or extra stuff that you need to do. And that is where the risk allowances comes in. So I think just going forward, I think I'm going to be a bit more specific. I think I'll issue one of these, yeah. But I think I'm definitely going to issue the template. All right, so that'll just make your life easier.
All right.
for that matter. Right.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So I trust that that was informative. But what I'm definitely going to do is I'm definitely going to how can I say, issue a proper presentation or a lecture around what has to be done on this specific project. Yeah, I went to see somebody today. I mean, they just read the estimate, so they want me to look at the estimate. It's a new project that they're doing. I actually didn't even ask them for what the amount was. It's a 17-month project, and so yeah, so we're going to look at the drawings, and yeah, so I mean, you can imagine that 17 months of work that has to be done. There's a lot of work, steel work, mechanicals, crushers, stockpiles, whatever. It's in a mine. It's a mine that they want to do, or that they constitute, that they're going to construct. So those estimates look totally different. I'm not going to show you those ones specifically, but I think it'll give you a guidance of the complications of some of the projects. Yeah. Alrighty.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Thanks very much for joining. I will, like I said, I will issue a proper presentation on this, so that we